Hello, my name is Rachel Diaz, and I'm going to be presenting my research slideshow today. So I'm going to get that started. Okay, so the name of my presentation is Fostering a Better Experience for Homeless Cats. For my introduction, my research question was, how does being in a foster home positively affect the psychology of a cat as opposed to staying in a shelter while they're waiting for adoption? The three subtopics that I went into was long-term shelter residents, medically needy shelter cats, and young kittens, which includes kittens that are newborn, between the ages of newborn and 8 weeks old. So the first one was long-term shelter residents. So approximately every year in the United States, 3.2 million cats enter shelters. So that is obviously quite a lot. And a lot of shelters in the United States have recently began adopting something called a no-kill philosophy. And what that means is that the shelter would have to have a live outcome rate of 90% or more. And a live outcome rate is when animals leave the shelter through either adoption, return to owner, transfer to rescue. Basically, animals aren't being euthanized for space. And so shelters are not designed to be a long-term housing option for animals. But because so many shelters are now adopting the no-kill policy, which is a good thing that they're not euthanizing for space, we are also running into, though, a lot of animals that are sort of becoming long-term residents because they're not being adopted right away. Most of the time, these are cats, in particular the cat situation, it is either seniors, cats with behavioral issues, or require some type of extra care. There's also medically needy cats. So these are cats, typically any type of cat in the shelter receives an average of 15 minutes of human interaction per day. That is just because shelters, like anywhere, are very often short-staffed. Sometimes they'll have volunteers helping out, sometimes they don't. But on average, shelter cats receive that 15 minutes. Cats being in such close proximity to each other and does increase recovery time. Oftentimes, sick cats will have their own sick room at a shelter, which does increase recovery time, because while there is one sick room, it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody in that room has the same exact illness. So different cats could be picking up different things while they're in there. And even in the healthy cat section of the shelter, just because there are so many cats in one place, they have a higher likelihood of getting sick. With young kittens, newborn to 8 weeks, so typically, kittens, until they're about 5 weeks old, do need assistance eating, and they need to be fed depending on how old they are. Like newborns need to be fed every 2 to 3 hours, and that is around the clock, so they don't take a break to sleep overnight. Once they get older, then it starts to be every 4 hours and every 6 hours, and that is until they're about 5 weeks old if there is no mother cat present. A lot of times shelters do not have the resources to have somebody there 24 hours to be able to feed these kittens. So if fosters are not available for that task, then a lot of times young kittens will be euthanized. Simply because they don't have the resources to care for them. Kittens cannot receive their first vaccines to help protect them against certain illnesses until they reach 1 pound, which usually isn't until they're about 5 to 6 weeks old. And they are not eligible for spay-neuter surgeries until they're over 2 pounds, and that's usually when they're around 8 to 9 weeks old. So my overall thoughts is that foster care can provide a one-on-one service that's unparalleled, and it's much more than the 15 minutes that they're going to receive in the shelter. It opens up space for the shelter to receive other cats that may thrive in the shelter. It alleviates the need to euthanize for space. And it helps cats with behavior issues, particularly the long-term residents, feel more secure and be able to come out of their shell. And then when they're in that behavior, the foster parent is able to provide the shelter with more accurate notes of what that cat's true personality is really like and help them get adopted quicker. So it really is an all-around good thing. So that was my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned a little bit about shelter cats. Thank you.